Realizing now that I may be actually unlikable as fuck when I stop kissing people's ass. Oh well.
We trusted the process, and now we're here. Everything that we have to do for revolution, for the world that we must have, is just like growing this garden. You start with tiny seeds and vessels that appear empty, uncertain future, and just stay the course, just show up every day with water and care and love, and it will be imperfect, but it will bear fruit. Against the backdrop of everything collapsing, there is always growth. The things that we are doing matter because they are, in fact, slowly, inexorably, bringing change, bringing new life. The only hope that we get is what we build. But in building gardens, whether they are metaphorical or literal, we are providing that truth, that light, that hope. Can't you feel it? Can't you see it? You remember when we started, there was nothing. It looked empty back here, and now there is enough that we can eat, that we can thrive, and with some of the plants, we can just enjoy ourselves. Keep showing up every day. The garden will grow. Rest assured, and your work will make it happen. Welcome back, darlings. Did you miss us? We're not quite back yet. This is, let's call it season 1.5. We are not quite done putting the finishing touches on our new format of the Focused on Infinity Hour, more or less. But we wanted to come back and give you just a little taste of how we're going to be redoing things. It's going to be a lot of what you're used to, but we're adding a little bit more polish, and we're going to have more guests and more features, and we're going to mix up the format of some of the things that you know and love already, because we've got to just keep growing and changing. That's what we're supposed to be doing, and that's what we aim to do. And also, on the back end of things, production of this sort of show is something that I love to do, and I wanted to get a little bit more hands-on with it as well. It is really fun and enjoyable for me to put together all of the things that I've collected from the internet. You may follow, the FYP that I do, or if you're a member of the House of Infinity, you see the things I curate there, or even just if you're on Instagram. You know that I am a big fan of basically showing you a glimpse of what's in my mind through the wonders of the internet TM, as I call them. And this show is going to be a little bit more of the same. Of course, the amazing and inimitable Mistrix will always be with us behind the scenes and also helping me run the live show every Monday, and also will be in the chat and just helping me make sure that everything is full of the right bells and whistles and music and all of that good stuff. Of course, returning is going to be the amazing Alice Pope with the Astrological weather report, which is going to be a little bit different as well. Of course, we'll have our wise and wonderful worm. We couldn't have the show without them. And also, of course, Square Symbols providing us their musical excellence, in addition to many of the other folks that you have known and loved. But, you know, we like to keep a core cast of characters, as it were, just so that you know, to pay homage to the people who have really made this show possible so far and will continue to do so with us in the future. And that, of course, includes you. We really appreciate you and your attention and just being here. And there are so many things to watch as the world continues to rapidly collapse out from under us. Though, of course, it is important to remember that the planet itself will be fine. Terra will be fine. Our ability to live on it will not be. So we're also going to bring you more practical tips and things of that nature, and make sure that we don't really lean too much on the day-to-day news, but also make sure to talk about the things that are on all of our minds, because, you know, it's a cross between not pretending that we're above the day-to-day news and also not being trapped by it, not being reactionary in just, you know, bringing you what everyone else is bringing you by talking about the daily news, the daily events, because the things that are important, generally speaking, will be perennial and will be evergreen. So we're going to always make sure that when we're talking about things that are happening right now, that are, you know, that are relevant right now, that they are relevant essentially forever. And that's unfortunately true of so many things. The unfortunate, sad and fucked up case of Nolan Wells and the obvious cover-up from top to bottom, from his friends to the parents who were judges to the, you know, even the CETO people. I mean, everyone was conspiring to keep the killing of this young black man. We're going to call him a teenager because it is far too often that, you know, we as black people, we don't get to be children. Right? They say things like, you know, teenage man when they're talking about a 13-year-old, which is like, what, baby, what are you saying? Though, then again, given what they think of teenage girls, it makes sense in some very, very grim way, but I digress. We need to always remember that things in this country, though they change, they stay quite the same until we actually deal with what underpins them. And darlings, racism, anti-blackness is literally foundational to this country, and that is not some sort of woke talking point or leftist propaganda. Literally, this country was built on anti-blackness. You could not have had the kind of rapid rise of economic, you know, power that this country had without free labor. And who was that labor provided by? And how was that labor provided in a world that had outlived, essentially, the enslavement of other humans for the most part, right? It had to be done with a new lie. And that new lie was anti-blackness. And if you think that 500 years of propaganda to make white people think that they are different, that black people are in some way inferior or different, rather than that we are all just various shades of melanin, the exact same fucking organism, right? That lie does not die easily. And it won't die if you don't kill it. As I often say, anti-blackness is not a black people problem. Okay? It is a problem to be solved by the people that benefit most from it, not the people who suffer most under it. We have duty. You have a duty. We all do. But some of you with the complexion for the protection have a little bit more of that duty, and that's just how it is, right? But we're going to keep bringing you every week something new, another glimpse into our world. And I'm going to make it a little bit weirder. We're going to get a little further out there. We're going to handle some more fun topics, some more sex topics, some more things that are just going to expand the scope of what we cover here. Because, as you know, we are indeed focused on infinity. And that includes everything: the musical, the magical, the practical, the political, all of it. All of it is part of what we're going to be talking about here. And what is our goal? What is our goal with this show? Propaganda becomes education, becomes history, becomes truth for people, right? Being silent about things, fighting back against these lies, is part of how we got here. A world of not talking about politics at the dinner table is how you get here. So even though it seems like we're just having fun, there is a real purpose and a weight to this. And that is part of the reason that we took a little break to recalibrate, because I want to always, always be joyful in bringing this show to you. And for now, let's get into our first of our new segments.
Hello, friends. Alice here. I've missed you all. It's so good to be back. It's been a really intense few weeks, astrologically speaking. I hope you all weathered that full moon in Aquarius back on Wednesday morning and are doing all right. But now that Mercury retrograde is officially over and the retro shade is fading out, we are back in action with the astrological weather report. So let's first take a look at the astrology of today, Monday, August 3rd. The main news is that Chiron, the wounded healer, just stationed retrograde this afternoon at the first degree of Taurus. Chiron moved into Taurus back in June, which is a pretty big deal because it had been spending 7+ years in Aries. But with this retrograde, we're not quite fully in our Chiron in Taurus era yet, because Chiron is going to moonwalk back into Aries next month, and it won't return to Taurus until the spring of next year, 2027, and then it'll be there until 2034. And who the fuck knows what the world will look like then? But as far as Chiron and Taurus goes, we'll be focusing on themes of the body, the earth, material resources, sustainability, and our values in general. I really love working with Chiron because it's a symbol of disability and chronic illness, of exile and being an outsider, but also of being multi-talented, of sharing our knowledge and wisdom with each other. It's about the way that our diversity makes us strong, the way that our challenges connect us and bridge us together. And I think all those themes are so important in this wonderful community of ours. Speaking of Taurus, the moon will enter the sign of the bull tomorrow evening, Tuesday, August 4th. And I'll bring you more of this week's astro news in the next clip.
Ours is a world of vertigo. It is a world that swarms with technological mediation, interlacing our daily lives with abstractions, virtuality, and complexity. We construct a feminism adapted to these realities, a feminism of unprecedented cunning, scale, and vision. A future in which the realization of gender justice and feminism emancipation contributes to a universalist politics assembled from the need of every human, cutting across race, ability, economic standing, and geographical position. No more futureless repetition on the treadmill of capital. No more submission to the drudgery of labor. Our future requires de-petrification. We are not a bid for revolution, but a wager on the long game of history, demanding imagination, dexterity, and persistence.
I've had a couple stage names in my life, but let's see what they give me. No comment.
And don't you ever for a second get to thinking that your ass isn't fat. Cause they must not know about you. We all know what that booty do.
For our mini episode of Lara Listens this week, we're going to be getting into an artist that I know quite well, myself. I just released a remastered version of my song Breakfast on the Border, and I wanted to share with you the lyrics of it and a little bit afterwards about what it means to me. And I'm very curious what it means to you. It is available now to purchase and have an MP3 that you own and can listen to whenever you'd like on Bandcamp. And it is on streaming services as well, except not on Amazon or Spotify. And if you know me, you know exactly why that is. Here is Breakfast on the Border. I'm a hero and a monster, a serpent and a lord. On either quest I foster the need I have to roar. And so now I am a sovereign, country's population, one. Making breakfast on the border, eating, I'm the only one. Every young one hates a copper till his wallet's getting stole. Every old one hates a thiever till there's no food in the bowl. And so which one should we exile? Which one is right the most? And the answer, only silence, 'cause in truth we need them both. So I'll have breakfast on the border and dinners at yours. But if you ask me when I'll get there, I couldn't be sure. Don't ask me how I'm dressed there, it won't bring you joy. If any difference you've detected, I'm still the same. I'm a savior and a tyrant, sometimes on the same day. When it's time to call the banners, I forget which flag to raise. And there's really not a border. There's no wall to hold them in. Only thing that keeps this order is that people won't cross it. So I'll have breakfast on the border and dinners at yours. But if you ask me when I'll get there, I couldn't be sure. Don't ask me how I'm dressed there, it won't bring you joy. If any difference you've detected, I'm still the same. So I'll have breakfast on the border and dinners at yours. And I'll stay until the morning. When I leave, I'll lock your door. I can't stay here in the Southland, nor in the North. The longer that I stay here, the harder it is to go back over. So I'll have breakfast on the border and dinners at yours. But if you ask me when I'll get there, I couldn't be sure. Don't ask me how I'm dressed there, it won't bring you joy. If any difference you've detected, I'm still the same. Still your boy. That is Breakfast on the Border, written by me in 2012, during one of the greatest periods of flux I've ever experienced. And then in 2024, 12 years later, almost exactly to the day, I was going to re-release it. And then my life exploded again. And it took me a long time to finish, polish it, and then actually release it. So I left the date of 2024 on the remastered version, even though I finished it, as recently as a few days before I actually uploaded it to reach you. And there's a couple of lyrics in there that might bring pause to those of you who know that I am an abolitionist and don't fuck with cops. The idea is that for me, the idea of the savior and the criminal are positioned as opposed, but within us, in each of us. They are two instincts, the instinct to protect and the instinct to destroy. They're both things that we need. It all depends on when and how we apply them. And in fact, at this point in our lives, we need to apply a little bit more of the criminal. A lot of us are still trying to play by the rules at a time when baby, the rules are dead. And we're going to be too if we don't start breaking more of them, because guess who wrote the fucking rules, right? And also the instinct to protect, the instinct to maintain whatever our standards are, right? Not literally to be a cop, obviously, but to be one who upholds, who protects, right? What cops are supposed to be, but never have been in this system at very least. That's also an instinct that we need to keep because it is important to maintain standards. Killing the cop in your brain doesn't mean having no standards or no rules whatsoever, right? That is a misconception that has also done us a grievous amount of harm. I literally grew up on the borderland in between Yorkville, which is one of the wealthiest, most affluent places in perhaps the world, and East Harlem, which is one of the poorest, if not in the world, certainly in Manhattan, in New York City. And living right on that borderland, I had the occasion to be, one of the wealthiest people that anyone knew when I was in East Harlem, and one of the poorest that anyone knew when I was in Yorkville with, the rich kids that I went to school with. And that experience has taught me more than any amount of schooling or education ever could. It's taught me to see that people really are all the same in some ways, and it's also taught me what needs to be pulled down and wrestled out of all of us. I hope that you will get a chance to listen to the song. It is rather melancholic because I put a lot of my sadness into my music, so I don't have to carry it in my heart. And of course, as always, I'm always working on new music, new pieces of writing. The next thing that I release is probably going to be another, we'll call it neo hip hop kind of thing, similar to Cognitive Dissonance, which I also hope you have heard. Well, you know what? I'll just leave that as a little surprise for you. And now for our next segment.
Hello again. So the next few pieces of astro news come to us on Thursday, August 6th. That afternoon, the planet Venus will enter its home sign of lovely Libra. And that makes the next month or so a great time to create and enjoy art and beauty, to find more balance, equality, and justice in our lives and in the world. Most of all, it's a time to focus on our relationships and interpersonal connections. Reach out to your comrades and loved ones, offer support, ask for help, lean on each other, cherish each other, and be open to the paradoxes, ambiguities, compromises, and constant changes that are an inherent part of being human and being in relationship. Then on Thursday evening, the Sun will form a trine to Saturn from 14 degrees of Leo over to 14 degrees of Aries. And Saturn always encourages us to act with integrity, to continue maturing into our best selves. This trine is a great flow of fiery energy that we can harness to face obstacles, to overcome hurdles, to work on challenging tasks and projects, to tackle things we may have been putting off. Raise your hand if you've been procrastinating on some things you need to do. Basically, everyone, I thought so. So take the chance to make it happen on Thursday, friends. And then late that night, the moon will move along from Taurus into Curious Quick Gemini.
A hoe will come up to you unprovoked, spilling somebody else's business. They got the nerve to ask you, so how you been? Good as fuck. How about you? Because hoe, was you cool? You're not about to air my shit out, fuck.
The last bit of astrological weather on the horizon for this week appears on Sunday, August 9th. First of all, the moon will move into cozy, feelsy Cancer, and then we'll finish off the week with a couple Mercury transits. Mercury moves into Leo on Sunday. It was in Cancer for so fucking long because of that retrograde, but now we're officially moving on with our lives. And as Mercury joins the Leo party, along with the Sun, Jupiter, and even now the south node of the moon, we're even more encouraged to express ourselves. So speak up. Use your voice, say your piece, tell fun stories, shine your light, give your gifts to the world, even if it's nerve-wracking or cringe or whatever. Just remember, Venus is in Libra. Try not to only endlessly think and talk about yourself over the next few weeks. Take it from a Mercury in Leo gal like me. And finally, late on Sunday night or early Monday morning for you East Coasters, Mercury will form a square to Chiron at 0 degrees of Taurus, bringing this week full circle. And this will bring our attention back to those old chironic wounds that we're tending to. The friction of the square may make them feel a little bit extra sensitive, but with Mercury involved, it's a good idea to approach them with curiosity. It's well start to use language to process here. Journal, write a poem, tell a story, yap with your friends, talk to your therapist, share online, whatever feels good to you, as long as you're processing sensitive information in places or with people who you trust. It might also help to move your body, get out in your local community if you can, anything that just brings a bit of a shift in perspective. And that's it for your astrological weather report. I'm Alice Pope. See you next week.
And that, my friends, comrades, darlings, and others, brings us to the end of this short episode of the Focused on Infinity Hour, more or less. Definitely less this time, because this is season 1.5. Just a little glimpse of what we're going to be bringing you starting next Monday and Mondays thereafter. I hope that you will continue to fight hard for the world that we need and understand it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's only going to get better. The only future that we have, the only world that there will be for us to have and enjoy, and I strongly believe that that world is there. That it is a real and better world than any we've ever had. Even though it will come through a lot of misery and catastrophe, it will be real and it will be much better. But it's only going to come. It will only arrive if we make it happen. We've got to change our lives. We've got to change the way we live. We've got to pretend that we know what the fuck is at stake if we don't. And we have to act like we know what's at stake if we genuinely do. Because a lot of y'all say that you know what's at stake, but you don't act like it. And how do we know that you know if you don't act like you know? Right? So put it in your hands. Put what is in your heart in your hands. What is inside you only matters if we get to experience it. Right? If it is how we experience you, if it is what you are doing, not what you're thinking, not what you're feeling, what you are doing and not doing and not supporting and not continuing to do mindlessly because you're used to it. Right? Everything you've let slide for all these years, the time for that's over. Climate change is real. The ongoing pandemic that shall not be named, that's still real too. Right? When the tides turn on all the things that we believe, people are going to try and say they've always been against it, and we know that they haven't. But guess what? I'm going to say something a little different than others might say, and that's that when people show you who they are, believe them, yes. But also, you've got to take yes for an answer conditionally. And all organizing, all of the things that we need to do will work in concentric circles of organizing. You won't be letting everybody into your innermost circle, right? They've shown they don't deserve it. They don't merit it. They haven't been there. They aren't really, really, really about it even though they may change. That may change, right? Everything's subject to change, sure. So your innermost circle is the people who you know are really down, who really share your values, who are really down. And you know they've been down, and you can trust them even when it's hard to be down. The next circle out, well, that's people who maybe they're newer. You know, maybe you've known them for a long time and they've come along, they've evolved in who they are politically, socially speaking, right? But not really inner circle people, right? And then another one out, Maybe that's neighbors, people who you are close to in proximity, but don't share values with. There's only so close you're ever going to be with these people. But guess what? You need to work with them, right? You need to find a way. You need to find ways to reach out to them, to be simpatico with them, because especially in what's coming, what's happening now, we need each other. And we can't lean on only values aligned people, right? Even though there are people whose values are so different than ours that they're going to be another concentric circle or two out from even those first neighbors who you're kind of okay with, you're cool with, even though, you know, they're never going to be super close to you, right? It's all about knowing who people are in relation to you. I will leave you with a little bit of wisdom from the garden. There's nothing wrong with any plant. Every plant is what it is and is supposed to be. And of course, there's infinite variation within those plants. Some are larger, some are smaller, some are more voluminous, some are sickly, some are, you know, there's just a difference in between them, as well as in between different plants, right? But the thing to look out for is that plant where it belongs? Is it getting the right things for its conditions? Is it getting enough sunlight? Is it getting enough fertilizer? Is it getting enough water? Is it getting enough tending? Is it getting enough pruning? Right? We think of this very easily when we're talking about plants, but we could also think of that when we're talking about humans. Because a lot of us, especially those of us who are neurodivergent, who are queer, who basically step outside for some reason or for many reasons of what people are supposed to be, well, a lot of us grew up thinking there was something wrong with us. We were just in the wrong garden. We weren't getting the right fertilizer. We weren't getting the right tending. And as adults, we can find our real people, find our real garden, and really start to flourish. And guess what? When a plant flourishes, what it provides can help people far, far beyond a garden. Maybe something in you is a medicine that if people had let you grow and flourish, you would be able to provide them, right? But instead, they choked out your light. They didn't give you enough pruning. They didn't tend you correctly. But now that you are tended, and now that you are watered properly, now you can grow and you can still provide everything you provide in the unique way that you provide it, in a way that helps those far beyond your individual life. And you can do it in a way that no longer makes you have to shrink, have to clip your own buds for someone else's comfort because you're in the wrong place, because they don't understand what your particular plant is and is supposed to be. So, darlings, please continue growing yourself as the individual plant that you are metaphorically, and of course, your real gardens, right? It's not too late to plant some fall crops. And let's just say some cyclosporadic outcomes we have seen recently give you yet another object lesson. Unfortunately, I hope it wasn't too bad an object lesson in exactly why we can and should be taking back control of our own food, of our own lives, of our own politics, of everything about our world from the ground up. Because there's no help coming from the top down. Much love to you, darlings. I will see you next week.
realizing